So people have talked quite a bit about these twin pandemics of racism and COVID-19, and also understanding that the coronavirus is disproportionately impacting communities of color. How do you think the needs of our communities have been changed by this twin pandemic? And how do you see the church's response, or what does the church need to do to respond?
The one thing for sure, disasters of all sorts, be it natural disasters, be it catastrophic predicaments like this COVID-19 has been, be it the human predicament. One thing about a disaster is that it exposes it exposes the flaws and the inequalities in our societies. So COVID-19 has been no different for us than the byproduct of Hurricane Harvey or Katrina in the Gulf Coast. When the water settled, you saw who, because of inequality and inequity, who didn't have the resources to leave, who didn't have the resources to rebuild, who didn't have the resources to defend themselves from the aftermath, the experiences in the aftermath. And COVID-19 hadn't been any different. We literally see right now the devastating effects of this pandemic, which is like a tsunami of sorts, that has literally overcome groups of people based on their either ability or inability to defend themselves from the onslaught of economic despair, and we have seen it. I mean, so I think at the end of the day, what any disaster does, and what this particular disaster has done is exposed inequity in our systems, and it's not good. It's not going to be good for a long time.
So what's the church's place in responding to that?
I think the church has a basic response. A basic requirement. Jesus puts in perspective for us what our tangible mission should be to the hungry, to the naked, to the sick and the imprisoned. And I think to start with, if every church focused on the one most dire demographic in need in their community, I think just focused on one aspect of that demographic, I think we could literally change the opinion of the world about the church. But as long as we are walled fortresses, peering through little cracks in the stained glass, as long as we are locked inside of our doors, making sure there's an usher at the door, screening, would-be participants, we're gonna continue to die and decay at an increased rate like never before. I think the church has an opportunity to be the hands and feet of Jesus like never before. And right now, matter of fact, before I was a Christian, I used to watch this guy on television named Robert Schuller. He had this big, thick robe. He had a shiny building that, when, because of the lack of transition planning, when he was no longer able to prop that thing up, they lost it, and now it's something else. But the one thing I used to really dig about this guy is he used to say, "Find a need and fill it." I said, man, I mean, how basic can you get? Dude, that's like, if you find a need and fill it, Jesus will say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Now, come on in and let's do the real thing.
Actually, I've heard that you've got a new book coming out.
I'll tell you the absolute truth. Our denominational publishing house, I felt needed a response to the uprising of 2020. So I wrote them. I said, hey y'all, I'd like to do a book. Right? And I'd like to, in this moment, bring some honest voices to the forefront to respond to what's happening, not only in our race equation, but in our religious equation and in our denominational equation. So what I did was I recruited 9 of my very bright friends who are writers, authors, and I said, hey, Abingdon, has agreed to publish a book about being Black, Christian, and Methodist. Would you do a chapter? So it's me and 9 friends. I'm the editor, but these 9 friends all have a very prominent place in this book, and they all write out of their perspective. They are all Methodist clergy. I think all but one has a doctorate, and in the they're scholars, but they're scholars who've been on the ground pastoring churches, in some cases for many years, and we cover the waterfront. We are male, female. We are straight and gay. We are young and older. All right. I think the oldest writer is 70, and the youngest writer is 28. And if I tell you, this is done. The book is written. Bishop Greg Palmer wrote the foreword for the book, and it is going to be a lightning rod in our denomination around the conversation around race.